Hi, welcome to Landry Amps YouTube channel, home of the low budget video. My name is Bill Landry, and I've been asked why I make such low budget videos. Why don't I have better video quality, better production? And I've had many customers that have told me stories like they bought an amp because they found it on YouTube. They found a video of it, and it sounded great. There was a great player demoing it, and but when they got it, they found it really didn't sound anything like the video. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One thing, we all play different, right? We all sound different on the same gear. So, but the other part of that is the production. And you can take lots of different amps, go in the studio, record it under perfect conditions with great gear and with an engineer that knows what he's doing at the board, and you can make that amp sound very different than it did in the room. Well, I'm not making an album. I'm not trying to get the best sound on a record or a song. What I'm trying to do with my videos is give players like you an idea of what to expect when they plug into this thing, when they hear it in a room, versus hearing it on an album or in a video where it's really good production value. What I try to do is with the audio, I try to capture the audio that I hear in the room to give you an honest representation of what the amp sounds like. At least in this room. It's going to sound a little different in your room because the acoustics are different. Your guitar is different. Your cables are different. Your speakers are different. You play different. So there's going to be differences, but all I can do is give you the best representation of when I plug one of my guitars in, and they all sound different, so it depends on which guitar I'm plugging in and where I put the knobs on the amp. Still, what you hear in my videos is the best I can get at capturing what it sounds like in the room, not the best production value from a great studio engineer. So I hope that helps you guys when you watch my videos. If you identify with something, because here's the thing, why do I even build amps? I build amps because it's hard to answer that question without sounding all mushy, and there was a point where it was like the last straw, right? The straw that broke the camel's back. I met a guy, and he was telling me how frustrated he was trying to find an amp that he thought was a great amp. Now, at the time I heard that, and that's what triggered the next things that got me into learning how to build an amp and to desire to build one that I would be excited about. But my attitude has changed a lot since then, because at the time I was much more closed-minded about what is good tone. The process of learning how to build an amp, learning how these things work, learning what those knobs actually do, taught me a lot about different tones and all the experimenting I did to come up with my designs. I've learned to appreciate a lot of tones that I didn't appreciate before, and that it's those differences in all those different tones, different types of amps, whether it's a Fender Deluxe or a Bassman or a JTM 45 or a JCM 800 or any one of those amps modified to have more gain and have less bass or whatever the case is, and what speaker cabinet you plug into. There's basically my thinking went from being very closed-minded to going, you know what, it's all good. There's a whole lot of different varieties of good. It's just a matter of matching an amp to a player. Now this goes back to my videos too, because why my videos are the way they are. See, I don't want to sell an amp to the wrong guy. You know, a player that I fully recognize. There's players that will plug into my amps and go, this is not right, this is wrong, this is not the amp for me. And he might say, well, this sucks. But the next guy that plays a different kind of music, or primarily that's what it would be, I think, he would plug in and go, this is perfect, this is what I've been looking for, I've looked for this for my whole life. That's the guy I want to try to reach with my videos, to go, this is what they really sound like, plugged into this kind of speaker cabinet, whether it's the vintage 30s over here or the greenbacks over here. I use guitars that they're not your common guitars, because I don't have Les Pauls and Strats. I have what I have, but my homemade guitar is the same wood combination, scale length of a Les Paul, and it was because I wanted to know what a Les Paul sounded like with 24 frets and with a thinner neck. So that's what I did. I built that one. The other ones I just kind of happened upon them, and they are what they are, and they're all different. They have different pickups and different woods, different scales. Like the PRS is, I forget what scale. It's somewhere between the Fender scale and the Gibson scale. And all of these things are things that players connect with very personally. You know, the scale and shape of a neck, the side strings, the pickups. It's the same with an amp tone. It's not just tone, it's not just frequency response, it's how much gain and the nature of that gain, how much compression or lack of compression. There's the frequency response, but then there's the feel, the texture of the amp. And I know you can't get that on a video. You can't relate the feel of the pick attack on a video. But I just do my honest best to give you what the amp sounds like in my room with my guitars, and I also try the different playing. You know, I'm not a virtuoso. I can cover a few things, a few different types of songs, but what I try to do is give you the different playing styles that I can replicate, like the Van Halen or Peter Frampton, or it's things where the picking attack is different, the vibrato is different, which all these things bring out different things in the character of the amp. So that's about it. That's what's behind my cheap, crappy videos.